Well, what's old could be new again. Taking a look at the changing face of City Council. Also, of course, the double-digit win for D. Michael Collins in the mayor's race. That's on the way. Also, we're going to highlight the effort of a group in Henry County doing great things to support children and other entities in Henry County in the city of Napoleon. It's a festival called the Symphony of Trees. It takes place over a 4-day period this coming weekend, and we'll speak to that a little bit later. But first, it is a time to honor those who serve, those who do serve, and those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Of course, it is Veterans Day weekend, and no better person to join us this morning than the man who has served this country in so many ways. He's the commander of the 180th Fighter Wing of the Air National Guard at Toledo Express Airport, Colonel Stephen Nordhaus. Colonel, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, it's your first appearance here, but we've wanted to have you on for a number of years, Colonel, but no better time, I think, Veterans Day weekend, than to bring you in. What's this mean to you? You're somebody who's flown 83 combat missions. You know, and so it's Veterans Weekend, but obviously you still serve in a great way.
Yes, sir. I mean, veterans out there serving across the country right now and around the globe recognize this as a great day to remember all those who have come before us and have served the great nation to give us the freedoms that we have today. So we really recognize each other and those who have gone before us to build the country and the nation and give us the freedoms that we have.
And we're so lucky, I think very fortunate to have the 180th right here at home. And I think for a lot of people who live in the area and drive by, maybe you go over to Oak Openings, or you got to catch a flight on Toledo Express, or drive by over in Swanton, and you see the moniker, and you see the symbolism and the entrance to the 180th. But it means so much to our community in so many ways. Maybe you can tell us what the 180th is all about here.
The 180th loves to be part of Northwest Ohio. It's a great community. Like we talk about Veterans Day, there's incredible support in Northwest Ohio for our veterans. But the 180th Fighter Wing brings in about $117 million just last year in overall financial support to the local community, about $110 million average over the last 5 to 7 years. We have 1,100 airmen out there. About 400 of those are full-time.
Wow. But that many?
Yes.
That many, wow. And so you have airmen, but you also have enlisted officers, right, and staff that are not necessarily civilian staff, but other staff in other ways. Maybe speak to that.
Right. We have 100 officers and about 900 enlisted airmen out there that do the mission day to day, and we do it not only within the country here. We also do it overseas as well.
Right, and always at the ready. I mean, there are a number of arms of the 180th, but one is operations, and that is ready to go at a moment, at a second's notice. Speak to that, if you would.
That's correct. We have the alert control mission out there that does air sovereignty for the United States, and when our nation asks us to launch, we launch and make sure that we provide protection across not only Ohio, but kind of the larger Great Lakes region here as well.
And all those jets, they're the F-16s?
That's
all of
correct.
Them out there?
Yes.
And how many times have you flown, Colonel?
I don't even know how many times I've
count?
flown. That's correct.
Yeah.
Coming up on 3,000 hours of flight time in them.
Yeah, and a veteran of many conflicts overseas, but now back here at home, it's your job to lead the 180th. Take us through a day at the 180th for the people who are not familiar with what goes on at the National Guard base out there.
Okay, well, normally I get in about 6:30. We have a 7 o'clock brief for the folks who are flying in the morning. So I try to stop in and make sure that brief goes well, and our pilots, I'm either one of the ones flying or listening in to what the missions are going to be that day. And then throughout the day, the pilots go back and they brief, and the maintainers get the jets ready to go. And then they'll fly in the morning. There'll be a split in between the afternoon where they'll grab some lunch, and then there'll be another briefing and another flight in the afternoon. The rest of the folks on base are, doing the support, so they're getting the planes ready to go, getting the fuel there. We have a medical group and making sure that everybody's medically qualified to not only serve during the day, but also to serve if we're called on by our state or nation.
Yeah, but you're an Ohio guy, though, right?
That's correct.
Born and bred.
Born and bred in Ottawa, Ohio.
Yeah, and working here now in Northwest Ohio for how many years now, Colonel?
About 15 years now.
Is that unusual that you've been able to plant, have a family?
Well, that's part of the National Guard, is that you can live in the community and continue to serve longer in that way. The active components, they are moving about every 2 to 3 years. But in the National Guard, you're able to, kind of plant roots a little bit and be a little bit tighter and closer with the community, which we love.
From a perspective of having a family, has that allowed you to maybe been able to stay close to home, limit travel as much as you possibly can?
Mm-hmm. It has, and it's allowed us to raise two of our kids in the same schools at Anthony Wayne over the last 12 years, so it's been really nice.
All right, and let's talk now, if we can, Colonel, about this weekend in particular. What do you have going on? It is Sunday as this program airs, so programs out at the 180th to honor those who have served. I know that London Mitchell's he's going to come up here in a few minutes, and he's been a member of the 180th Fighter Wing, so there are so many ways to honor those.
We have lots of our members will go out and actually be speakers at different events throughout the local communities. And if you look at the 1,100 airmen that serve, they actually live in 88 counties throughout Northwest Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. So they'll be in their local counties participating in American Legions and Veteran Day events. And I'll be participating in joining the event that's happening at Toledo University on Monday morning.
All right, big breakfast.
Big breakfast.
Yeah, the general coming in?
Yeah, 4-star General Renault is coming in to speak, and I'm anxious to hear him.
Okay, all right. What message would you give to our folks in Northwest Ohio about the state of our country right now? I mean, in a good place. I mean, I feel good with the people out at the 180th that are standing up for us.
We have just an incredible military, and I know firsthand that we're all working together, the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, the Guard, with that total force out there trying to figure out a way to help the nation solve its fiscal crisis out there. And I can tell you we're very focused on doing the right things and making the right decisions to help our nation through these tough times.
And focused on doing your job.
That's correct.
Sure. We appreciate it. We thank you for your service, and everybody at the 180th, Colonel. We are fortunate to have all of you out there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate it very much. Colonel Stephen Nordhaus, the commander of the 180th Fighter Wing of the Air National Guard at Toledo Express Airport. We'll come back in just a minute. We're going to make a transition to the Symphony of Trees right after this.